Welcome to the Wileyverse. Tonight, since we've got two folk missing, we're going to do a pop-up episode of Wileyverse Mitch with special guest star Bandolier.
There she is. You can see her on camera for once.
Hi.
Same
What
dog
you
breath,
doing?
same dog channel.
Today, we're going to take a look at Savage Worlds Adventurers Edition. The brand new Savage Worlds Edition. I've got the big old box. It's got everything in it. Savage Worlds is a generic role-playing system. It's used to basically do anything you want. You can run anything you want in the Savage Worlds. They have several licensed IPs that they create stuff for, like Deadlands.
Is Rifts one of those?
Rifts is one of those.
Rifts is how I got started in role-playing games. So I actually bought the source book back in the mid-90s, early 90s, jeez. Early 90s, and I read that cover to cover, but didn't know how to play. Like, we'd never had a GM before. No one understood, at least in my friend group, percentage dice or how to do stuff. Without an example, it's kind of hard to just read it and go through it. And so when I met Wiley and his brother actually and I were talking about artwork, and a picture from that came up, and that's how we met. And now we've been gaming for about 2 years, so he's been doing it for 30 plus.
Probably.
I've been doing it for 2 plus. So we get together and do this Wiley versus Mitch sometime. If you haven't seen it before, that's kind of the synopsis.
So, to give you just an overview of what comes in this big ass box, if you're interested. An oversized deck of playing cards.
Is that for initiative?
That's for initiative. One of the interesting parts of this system is that it uses playing cards for initiative. It also comes with these very cool little trackers. It spins and it has the number at the top that it shows, so you can manage your wounds or ammunition or whatever you need to. Even your bennies, but they actually have another thing for bennies.
I like the Rifts cards better, but these are still neat and big and really well printed. So you basically draw cards instead of rolling dice for initiative. This is going to be a weird one because I kind of know some Savage Worlds stuff.
It also comes with status cards, an adventure deck, and power cards, a bunch of stuff just to help you play the game. Then, beyond all that, it also has bennies in the form of poker chips with the Savage Worlds logo. I mean, these things are nice. These are heavy.
So bennies is like inspiration.
Yeah, it's a meta currency in the game that allows you to do things, alter your fate if you don't like the dice rolls.
And I can never remember what benny stands for.
Benefits.
Benefits.
It's American slang for benefits.
I don't speak American, unfortunately.
Yeah. So.
Is this covering something too? Or?
Yes.
Oh, it's books.
That's the books. So underneath all of this, there's a big poster. If you want.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the front cover art.
Ooh.
And then I've got this nice hardbound book of it.
Rifts is fun because it's like fantasy sci-fi mixed together. I'm assuming that's something that's normal for Palladium stuff or Savage Worlds?
Palladium is Rifts. This is Savage Worlds.
Excuse me.
Pinnacle. It can be anything. It is literally a generic system. You can play fantasy, you can play sci-fi, you can play space opera, you can play contemporary, whatever you want to play.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's also little kind of like bookmarks, but they are like injury tables,
cheat sheets. Yeah.
calculators, ranged attack modifiers.
Yeah.
Besides having this little thing with all these little stats on them, they also give you full sheets of all kinds of rules, chases and maneuvers for vehicles, all the combat options, all this kind of stuff.
Like quick tips, kind of like hotkeys almost.
Then you have templates, because this game is written to be used with miniatures, which is something I don't do, but it is designed that way. So these are the templates for flamethrowers and cone weapons and blast. And then there's also an entire sheet of tokens that you can put on to do all of the conditions and other things that could happen to your character, so you can just put these right on the tabletop next to your miniature.
That's neat.
If you're shaken or stunned or anything.
It's nice that they include this. I know a lot of games don't. You can buy rings separately and things like that. This is cool.
So I also have it comes with the Game Master screen.
Yeah.
Has all the fun stuff on it. Little 3-panel. That has all of the information and everything that you need at your fingertips.
This is Wiley versus Mitch mixed with an unboxing from YouTube.
Yep. And then it has like a GM's guide that goes over world building, creating settings, and how to make new races and things like that. They have that information in the main rulebook. This is just goes over it in more depth and gives you some more examples. How to house rule and game prep and all that kind of stuff. After that, there's a little adventure mini settings book, which just goes over, here's a sci-fi setting, here's an underwater setting, here's a cowboy setting.
Does it provide any kind of maps to start with? Like things you can put miniatures on?
No, nothing in the box.
Is that a normal thing for role-playing games? I haven't seen, because we don't put
because it's
miniatures.
very much, that would be a by adventure, because whatever map they give you, it's like, oh look, here's the road map
That's
again.
a good
like
point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'm gonna put most of this stuff away.
Baby, your breath is stinky today.
Super stinky.
I saw you in a little cage.
I hate that cage.
Yeah, I'm sure dogs all hate that cage. It's weird, the other one I made, the dice stick to the thing. This one came out a lot better. Also, see how the glitter is kind of mixed around in there a lot better?
Yep.
And my other one, it kind of all fell to the bottom. I think I put too much, so I don't know. This one was better. I was hoping to go
Over there. Okay. So, this game has an interesting twist to our normal Wiley versus Mitch's, because normally at the start we'll start going over character creation, but to go over character creation I have to talk about the setting. Since this is a generic role-playing game, we get to decide the setting. Ooh. So, really we can do anything you want. We can just have like... And I kind of want to go through a couple. If we have time, like we'll build a character in one setting, do whatever we need to do, play some encounters, and then build another character in a completely different setting.
Makes sense.
Just to show the versatility of it, because that's what it's all about. So, some options, things that we both know a lot about, and that we can kind of just hash out as we go.
Radioactive planetoids in a Dyson sphere.
Well, I was thinking Mass Effect, but...
Oh, okay.
we could do that too.
No, I'm just joking around.
Like Mass Effect, or I could run Destiny or Halo.
I don't know anything about Destiny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should play Destiny.
There's Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
There's what else? What games have we played? Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to I don't want to do something that's already established as a role-playing game. Mm-hmm. I also would rather not do a fantasy, because I want to show the versatility of this compared to our other settings, like our other games.
Well, why don't we make it like a Jedi-style game then?
Like a space opera?
Yeah, let's do that a little bit. Because I know that Savage Worlds, at least if it has anything to do with like riffs at all, that there's... Because we can make anything, there's like laser swords and chain swords and all kinds of fun stuff.
All kinds of stuff like that. We could even do a 40K.
I was saving 40K for actual Wiley versus Mitch. Yeah.
And there's a Wrath and Glory coming out, which we are hopefully going to do. So that'd be
fun.
Then
there's another system that we were talking about that's coming out in September. Oh, Shadowrun's new stuff is coming out in September.
Oh, Shadowrun's new stuff is already out, and it's not good. It's really bad. Yeah, just need the attention on the screen. Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, you know what? I think it came out in September.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm I'm staying away from it for now. There's people that are looking it over and trying to fix it and put out documents for it, but it's just go on Reddit, the Shadowrun subreddit, and you can read all about it.
All the bad stuff.
So, Savage Worlds, let's do a space opera where there's humanity is sailed into the stars, and there's a rich alien civilizations out there, environments where everyone can meet up, and there's lots of planets, and then there's some type of space magic.
Space magic.
So there's something out there, let's call it like something like this. At the edge of our solar system, when we finally sent probes out there and everything, we found that there's this structure in the asteroid belt that's actually not natural. It's created. It's a gate, and people can go through these gates, and they connect to other gates. It's kind of Stargate-ish, where you can configure it to go different places. And so we discovered that there's all these other gates. Some of them go to inhospitable regions of space, but some of them go to places where other civilizations are, and they're just there doing their things, other peoples. And the thing is, the transference through the gate, that other world, that warp or phased reality, is a whole kind of power structure on itself. It is energy. It's like an energy world that transfers you. And it can change people and give them abilities. So some people, once they come in contact with the gate travel, will manifest abilities, and they become space wizard type folk.
Gotcha. Am I going to be one of those?
Oh, you can be. You can be whatever the hell you want. I'm going to guess you're going to make an engineer or a space pirate. Because that's how kind of things go.
Yeah.
So like right in the front, like the very first thing it talks about is anytime, any place. That's what this game is all about. Like the system, if you are the kind of person that watches a TV show or gets into a series or watches a movie and go, that would be a really cool game, and have that group that just wants to play all the time, if you get this game system and you learn it, you can run anything you want on the fly.
That's fun, because I've always wanted to do something where instead of magic it would be control of gravity. Yep. I would have to do some more studying to make it kind of seem more realistic, but I always thought it would be fun.
Mass Effect, kind of like
they
manipulate mass, but that's very...
For the gravity would be more like you could float or fly or move or manipulate objects or crush them or expand them, that sort of stuff, or create tidal forces against each other with that sort of stuff. I would have to do some, like I said, I don't want to just be like, that's how it happens. I like to look it up and make sure. So this kind of stuff would be right up my alley, I think.
So on that, one of the things that's kind of new for the new edition is they really focused on the powers section. And powers, before was just like the spells or the mad science or the psychic abilities, and they were really kind of smattering, and it was kind of all over the place, and it was trying to do everything. But they really honed it down, and through this system, they go, whatever the magic is, whatever the sci-fi, super science, magic, psionics, priests' miracles, or whatever it is in any game, let's make a system that we can represent it. And so the powers are like generic, but then they have a system that you can layer on top by adding trappings, modifiers, and limitations that hone in exactly what you need to do with that power. For example, they just have 3 attack abilities, like what you would consider an attack ability in any other game. They have Blast, Burst, and Bolt. So in D&D, Magic Missile is a bolt, like just an individual thing that comes out and hits someone.
Fireball's a blast.
Fireball's a blast. So if you were going to make Fireball in this game, you would take the blast power and you would give it the fire trapping. So now it is a Fireball. If you wanted it to be a storm cloud of a druid that calls down a lightning storm, you would give it the trapping of lightning. So now it's just, instead of a burst of fire, it is a burst of lightning and storm that comes down, and then you can modify it by giving it a lasting damage instead of just a single shot, because it stays and hovers there.
And I'm looking at the stuff here a little bit, and I get I get how they break it down. Then you call this whatever you want.
Yep,
you call this whatever you want.
Yeah. Like barrier, it's a force field or some other type of protection around you. If this was super science, sci-fi, barrier could be a energy field based off of a device you're wearing.
Or even if you give the trapping of thorns, it could be shards. So it's like crystalline structures that appear around you, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Interesting. I like it.
Oh, so yeah, sorry, barrier is not a force field. Barrier is a wall. Mm-hmm. So that actually sets up a wall, like a wall of ice, wall of fires, wall of thorns, or crystalline, wall of gravity.
Electronics.
Yeah, you just
wall of gravity, that'd be awesome.
You just boom.
See, that's what it is.
Right? Whatever you want it. And you can, again, like with this system, the way they did it, it's pretty robust. Like, you kind of think, like, oh, there's no way this can cover everything. If it can't, if some ability or power is in a show or TV thing or something that you have in your mind, by using these, just how the rules kind of work and understanding them, you could easily create it if it's not in here. If you can't find one of these things that match it. So, anyway. We're going to get started with character creation. So, character creation... pretty straightforward. There's one conceptual problem that some new players have a hard time getting over, and that is the correlation between an attribute and a skill. Unlike other games, like, say, Dungeons & Dragons, where you take your attribute and you add it to your proficiency, and then you roll that, or something like Shadowrun, where you take your attribute and you take your skill, you take all of those dice, and you roll them all. Mm-hmm. This game does not add dice together. So, if you are a very agile person, that doesn't help you shoot a gun. You still have to learn to shoot a gun. It'll help you learn to shoot a gun, because you already have a natural affinity to the agility and the hand-eye coordination needed. But a person that's never shot a gun before in their life, when they first pick it up, is probably not going to be that good at it. And it also shows that someone could be the clumsiest person alive, and if they really work at it, they can increase their skill beyond their means. Like, you could have a guy that's super clumsy and is a dead-eye shot with a gun.
Yeah.
And that's his training, and I really like how that system works, but unlike just about every other system out there, it doesn't add the two together. Your attributes and your skills are completely separate from each other, but the skills are dependent on attributes when you're raising them. They're less expensive as long as they're below your attribute, and then more expensive once you are trying to learn past your attribute.
I actually feel like that's what Oblivion was going for in Elder Scrolls a little bit, because you had all those individual things that were tied to a trait, but you could be super agile and only be a fighter, that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of interesting. I like it.
Okay, so
many pictures and stuff I want to read in this already. I know.
So, the first thing to consider is concept. So, where are you going for? This is a big space opera, a vast world of various creatures and aliens. Kind of think campy Star Wars, Hitchhiker's Guide, but not as silly. Just lots of different alien races.
I think that I'd want to be humanoid.
Or Titan, that's another good one.
Actually, I haven't actually seen that. So good. I think I would probably want to be humanoid, since in the future maybe have some augmentations that are cheaper, like more effective, less about the look and more about the use. So, like if I had an eye that would help me see in different spectrums, it wouldn't look like my eye. It would be a big dumb thing right here.
Cybernetic.
Or, this hand is robotic. Okay. My legs have something attached to them, junk like that you can see. Augments that are obvious.
All right.
Probably due to their cheapness.
But what does your character do in this world?
I would say, for fun's sake, I'd say like bounty hunter, because that's usually what space operas revolve around or whatever. But I might, in this case, be more like a guild enforcer. Maybe like there's a trade thing going on, or maybe like the International Battery Conglomerate tries to hold monopolies in certain areas, and so I make sure that I'm kind of a sapper.
All right.
Is that too much?
Just interesting niche concept. Like,
that would be fun. I probably wouldn't look like that if I was trying to be an underhanded sort of thing. So probably not that. Then maybe Maybe more of like a survivalist. Like I'm someone that kind of hops around from job to job and wanderer.
Do you have the warp powers or maybe psionics?
Let's give it a little warp power. Okay. Let's give it a little warp power.
You were changed when you first went through the gates.
Maybe my cybernetics are to help contain that or focus it. Or maybe they're just something mistakes I made when I was a kid. I like that one better. Like bad tattoos, except I have bad augments.
All right.
That are still useful.
Of the races that, I mean, any of these would work. Some of them are fantasy-ish, but they all work in a sci-fi space opera setting. Human, of course, is the baseline. Mm-hmm. There's androids, which are pretty interesting. They're kind of powerful, and they have some major hindrances added to them because they're kind of powerful. Mm-hmm. They're generally, as an android, you were built specifically for something. So you start with a real big bump to skills and things like that, like for your chosen field, or the field that was chosen for you. Aquarian, so a sea kind of race, we can turn that into like Mon Calamari-like or whatever. Yeah. Avian, winged people.
Also, that's Mon Calamari. Did they ever represent them in Jedi culture at all? Have you ever seen Mon Calamari?
Yeah, there's...
I'm big on the fan stuff.
There's fan stuff and other things like that. One of my... I still love the Mon Calamari Jedi Master. Like, back in the D20 Star Wars days, that was like the character I always had as the mentor for the group of Jedi that were playing. Like, you always had that Mon Calamari Master who was just sitting there like...
yelling it's a trap and everything.
Yeah. It's a trap! Dwarves, elves, half-elves, half-folk, so like halflings.
Halflings, yeah.
Hobbits, humans, Rakashans, which are cat people, Saurians, which are like dragon, lizard people. And then you can make whatever race you want, and there's some other races in the other book. Let's stick to this. So
let's do that. Let's
stick with a human.
Yeah, let's stick. Yeah, human. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of go with the baseline.
So yeah, let's throw some stuff on him.
All right. So humans, the only thing that they get is they're adaptable. So you begin play with any novice edge of your choosing. So you're going to just get an ability or an edge that you can take. There's a whole list of them, and they can be like, you have more money, or you're really good looking, or you can, I don't know if this is a novice one, but you can dual wield pistols or type of thing. You just have an ability because you've adapted.
We're getting started. Race is human, right?
Race is human.
Human. Oops, there's a bunch of these sheets.
Yeah, because I wanted to just make, in case we want to make several and go through different things.
I need to get this book next.
It is so good.
Yeah, right? I'm already just looking at it.
Back before even the Black Library's Warhammer 40k RPG, I was running Warhammer in this, in the original Savage Worlds.
Well, I actually don't have a whole lot of time this semester during the school, but when I do start teaching, I was thinking about maybe putting, like, instead of just tutoring my advanced readers and writers, maybe having them do storytelling like this and doing something where we can pick all that kind of stuff. We can write a zone, we can write a magic system, and then we can write, you know, some actual stories that go together, and then I can run them through it, or they can run each other through it, that kind of stuff.
All right. So, after you pick the race, you're generally supposed to go into hindrances.
All right.
But we're going to kind of hold off on that. Hindrances, you can only take so many in this game.
Oh yeah. I think 4,
you can take you can take as many as you want, but you can only take up to 4 points of hindrances for a benefit. If it's your character concept that they have more, that's fine, but you don't get anything more from it. Up to 4 points. With those 4 points, you can tinker with the other parts of your character, like raise attributes, choose more edges, get more skills, things like that. So we're going to wait on the hindrances until the concept's more fleshed out and we see the other things.
I have to say, while we're digging around, that I like that the character sheet shows you the shape
of the die
size. Yeah. It's like, it looks like this.
Which is a great time to talk about that. So, in Savage Worlds, you were like the the attributes: agility, smart, spirit, strength, and vigor, which are your core attributes, just like any other game. Is a die. It's a die type. It's not just some randomly, 3d6 number between 3 and 18. It is either a D4, a D6, a D8, a D10, and a D12.
Does Savage Worlds cover... I don't want to get ahead. Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
So,
I'm getting ahead. This is an exciting Wiley versus Mitch for Mitch.
So it's really like your attribute is your potential, like how much you can get out of your attribute, a D4 versus a D12. But because this game has exploding dice, that is, if you roll the highest value on a die, you get to roll again and add that on top of your roll.
If that's the highest, you go again.
You keep going and keep going. So you could take that D4 and go 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so I got an 18 on a D4, strength, or whatever check it was.
You just happen to stab just right or shoot just in the eyeball, like it's bad.
And the basic difficulty number for Savage Worlds is 4. So that's, like, having a D4 means you have to roll the highest value possible to get it. Yep. And like a D6, you have, a 66% chance of succeeding to get that 4. A 33% chance, because it's just the 5 and the 6. Well, technically it's the 4, 5, 6. So it's 50. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3 fails, 4, 5, 6 succeeds. And up you go. You getting a higher percent chance of rolling a number that is a success on the higher die types. So, every character starts with a D4 in each of their 5 attributes. So every stat, like you are, as a proto character, D4s down the line. You then... Where is it? Love how it tells you exactly how many skills you get points wise, but it doesn't tell you attributes like right off the beginning.
I'm just still tripping out on the dice shapes.
It's on the die.
Especially for new people, if you're making something up for your kids or making something up for your friends that have never played before.
Higher is better. 5 points. Okay, so you have 5 points to raise your attributes wherever you need to. They all start as a D4, and it's 1 point for one die step up.
Gotcha.
So if you wanted to go to a D8, that would be 2 points in that attribute.
So I was going to say that I was kind of a jack of all trades, so I'll take any kind of job, mechanics if I need to. I'll help you with shipping, I'll move stuff. And along the way, instead of tattoos, I've picked up cheap modifications that I found useful, so like grip strength and eyeball and junk like that. So I think being a jack of all, I think doing a lot of that stuff maybe give me 1 more strength. Maybe some street smarts, some vigor.
So you're going to take 1 in everything to put them to D6s?
No. I'm going to give myself another strength.
And agility is shooting. This is what your shooting is based off of.
Okay, so there we go. So now these all take the 2 dice up, so strength is 2 dice up now?
Yeah, it's D8.
D8.
You can circle it, fill it in, whatever you want to do.
Vigor is a 6 now. Smarts is a 6. Wait a minute, this looks a lot like a character I've already made. Only strength instead of agility. It's hard to pick attributes when you've only got 5 points to spend. Should have been like 5 strength. Roll that D12 all the time since you never get to play with it in D&D.
So your skills, you'll notice that there's some already written on the sheet, and that is athletics, common knowledge, notice, persuasion, and stealth.
Gotcha.
Just by being alive and growing up in a world, you have these skills. So all of those start at a D4. Every other skill you're going to have to buy. Okay. And you get 12 points to buy skills in the same way, but you have to buy the D4 first in any skill that's not the core. So... here's all the major changes in this edition.
It's not as many as you'd think, actually.
Just for skills, primarily, but other things as well. Like, lockpicking was its own, now it's part of thievery. Charisma was removed from the game entirely and is now handled with other things. So. To find the list of skills. kind of in the back of the character creation section. Enter summaries, trait summaries, skills.
The books
Yeah. So here's the list of skills.
Fighting. 12 points, right?
12 points total.
Let's do... So it's 1 per dice?
Yeah.
So let's
including... you have to do the D4 as well.
Let's do 3. So 1, 2, 3. We'll put it at a D8.
Okay. There's also shooting down here, which
shooting
you might want to have.
going to do. We'll put that at a 2. Alright, so he's got his tough stuff there. What else we got going on here? Piloting, occult smarts, performance, electronics, maybe a little bit of electronics, at least a little bit.
Yeah, electronics and things like repair, if you want to like work on things.
Yeah, let's do just now. I've spent, what is it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
Mm-hmm.
Repair. Now, just so we're clear, I don't have any dice. So let's say like I don't take psionics. Obviously that's a bad example. I don't take gambling, so I don't get a dice to roll gambling checks.
No.
Okay, I'm just like, I don't know how to gamble.
You don't. Well, you're inept at it. You would roll against your smarts, but you'd get a -2.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay.
Actually,
they're cool.
It might be a. Sorry, that might not be right. It might be you just get a D4 -2 with an untrained skill.
Let's add another one to common knowledge. Notice, obviously. Let's do some...
Now, if you're going to have magical powers, you're going to need to take the edge to do it.
Faith, or what is the edge?
It would be...
Focus?
Technically...
Spellcasting.
Spellcasting. We would rename it to something else,
like,
but...
let's say like warp.
Yeah.
Mutation.
Warp casting.
Warp casting, that's cool. I like it. Warp casting. Let's put a couple in there. At least. No, you know what? Let's 3 that one. I'm going to do some extreme mutation for her. Alright. D8. So now I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
Alright. That's...
a very packed little...
Yeah.
Okay. So
you think for a jack of all trades be a little bit better at everything, but it looks like he's more of a fighter.
Now that we've kind of fleshed things out, you know where you stand, we're going to get into the hindrances. We're going to get you some hindrances first, so that gives you some core points to start buying edges. You're going to start with one novice edge of your choice. It could be your warp casting. You need to take an edge to even have that ability.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to take that regardless.
So I'll put that right here in the novice, just to start.
Yeah. It's an arcane background warp casting, or warp. You can just write it as that, that's fine.
Too late, I already did.
Oh, it's not a advance, sorry.
It's novice.
Yeah. So these are your advances.
Oh.
So you're not advancing yet. It's just going to be up here in your starting ones. So yeah, every time you advance in this game, you get experience, and then you hit milestones, which gives you an advance.
It's been a while
and
since
down
I
the character sheet,
World sheet.
Yeah, down the character sheet, it actually has a line for each advanced level, and you just get to do something like get a new attribute, and get new skills, and you write in what you spent that advance on in that, and it tracks your entire character growth that way. So we're going to look at hindrances first. We're going to give you this big long summary. You can take. So a minor hindrance is 1 point, a major hindrance is 2 points. You can have up to 4 points of hindrances. So while he's looking over the list, I'll read some out loud.
Yeah, here we go for a 2-player game. Mute.
Just doesn't talk.
Can't swim.
Thin-skinned, tongue-tied, ugly, phobia, pacifist. Mm-hmm. So all kinds of stuff.
And actually, this is kind of... quirks and random insanities is what brought me to Rifts. One of the things I really liked about it was
that entire insanity section.
So if you say like phobia, you could pick a phobia, but it gave you a table, so you'd roll it and you're afraid of these things. My favorite one though was it's Popeye syndrome. So you need something that you're useless without your thing. And the random table was like just weird shit. It's like vanilla pudding eaten with a stick of celery. Like junk like that, potted meat that's been dehydrated, like junk like that. It was great. let's say wanted by the authorities.
Okay.
Minor.
Minor.
Because if it's major,
That would be really bad.
Alright. Small, slow, secretive, illiterate. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, especially in a sci-fi.
Ooh, this one's good for me. Hesitant, draw 2 action cards and take the lowest.
That's a new one. So there's a edge called Quick, which allows you to take 2 cards from the deck when you're going for initiative and pick the highest one. I think that's what Quick is. There's also Level-Headed. But now they have versions of them which are the opposite. So any of the extra card dealing, pick best.
Here we go. Overconfident.
Overconfident.
That's a major one. So now I'm at 3 points, right? 2 for majors, 1 for minor. Alright, so one more
Hero
minor.
believes she can do anything.
This one was my favorite.
Big mouth. Oh, God.
You know what? Let's say because of my stuff, because they're cheaper, I'll be anemic. So -2 on my vigor when resisting fatigue.
Ooh. Yikes.
Because my prosthetics and stuff are cheaper, so they need resistance drugs, maybe. Like, here I can give you a cybernetic part, but your body's going to resist it, so now take this drug. P.S. Get real sleepy sometimes. Alright, so this guy he's very strong for the most part, overconfident. He's got a troubled past, which has a price out on his head. Or at least the authorities are looking for me. Maybe it's not bounty hunters, but the police know me. They have me on warp scan.
Alright, so edges. There's several categories of edges to choose from. Now, understand you have 4 points, and for 2 points, so just go through all the things you can do with them. For 2 points, you can raise a attribute, 1 die type, if you want to get an attribute, or you can choose an edge that you qualify for. For 1 point, you can gain another skill point or gain additional starting money. You have 4. I suggest getting some good edges to start with.
For sure.
But your first edge is already taken, and that's from your human. So you still have 4 points. And that is power edges. It is... It's not any of those. So they can put it in here. Or the arcane backgrounds are their own. I'm guessing their own. Yep, it's right here. Yeah. So arcane background, warp casting, allows access to a background listed in Chapter 5. So you have that already. Cool. So now there's background edges, which are things about you intrinsically, whether you're brawny or brave or you're famous. And then there's combat edges, leadership edges, if you want to command people and all that kind of stuff. Power edges, that helps you with your casting, your warp casting, so it gives you new powers or more mana, is more of the power points to spend, more warp. I would not worry about that. You're going to get a whole bunch of power points and powers to start with. Professional. Professional is if you have a very core concept in mind that fits one of these, you can take this and it gives you a bunch of stuff towards that feel. Like if you want to be an ace pilot, you can take ace and it's all about flying and maneuvering on vehicles type of thing. There's social edges. You're a rabble-rouser. Can you provoke people? Are you streetwise? Things like that. And weird edges, which are just weird stuff like beast bond. You have a danger sense. Kind of weird. Legendary edges you don't have access to because you're not legendary yet. So you can just look through these.
So at 4 points, each one of these is 1?
Each one of those is 1. And remember, you can also spend those points on your other stuff.
Ooh. Oh, linguist in here again.
You want to see Mitch get nervous for no reason?
Yeah, shuffle these stupid cards. So we played a Savage Rifts game for almost a year. And it's just one of our other players, Dayton, and myself, with Wiley as the GM. And every time we shuffle that deck of cards, we'd be like,
What did we do?
Yeah, we just start looking. We look at our character sheet real quick. We're like, okay, so what am I do?
But of course, like just having a deck of cards in front of you and waiting for these players to make decisions, I would fidget with them.
So what are these?
Novice. So you can only if it doesn't have an N, you can't take it.
All right. So I'm gonna put these in here, right?
Nope.
Nope. Right here.
These are still things
Perfect.
like you have no advances yet.
I'm gonna take luck, which would go good with the other crap, I think.
And luck gives you an extra bidding to start with.
Yes. Wow, there's a lot in here.
Yeah. Combat edges especially.
Let's go with Iron Jaw. So it's it'll have to have also the V.
No, that's fine.
What is V?
Vigor of a D8. Yeah, sorry, you don't make that.
No, I can't get that. Damn. I was gonna say I'm kind of done with that. It's okay.
You have to be tough. You actually have to be tough to have a tough jump.
D8 2. Double tap. Improved dodge. I have some strength. That's what S is, right?
No, that's seasoned. So that would
so
be.
This is V veteran.
Yeah. So V veteran, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So if it has like the thing with the D with the dice after it, that's a stat. If it just has the letter alone, that's a character level.
Oh.
So like that one that's like novice with a vigor of D8. That's
so frenzy. I would need to be veteran and already have frenzy. Frenzy, I need to have.
You need to be seasoned with a fighting of D8.
Gotcha. Veteran, and I already have seasoned. Gotcha. So this is kind of too deep into these. Well, these are just combat.
No, it's just that's just. There's a couple in there that you can get.
Novice strength D8. I have that, and also vigor D8. Nope. None of that. Jeez. Brawler, bruiser. No. Calculating. Smarts D8. No. Fighting a D8. I have a fighting D8. Ignore up to 2 points of penalties on one action with an action card of 5 or less. Boring.
Boring.
Feint. You may choose to make foe resist with smarts instead of agility during fighting tests. I like that one, so we're going to do feint.
Make foes resist with...
smarts instead of agility.
Huh.
Because I'm being too quick.
Smart. Smart fighter.
Let's go with... No. Can't do that. Smart's a D10.
Yeah.
Repair? Power edges, that's what I was looking for. Your character knows 2 new powers.
So you're going to start with 5, then.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah. You're going to start with 3 already.
I'm trying to keep this short so that we don't do this all night. So I could look at this all night.
Yeah. Social.
Oh, I don't have any taint. Taunt.
Taunt is...
Menacing. See text. +2 to intimidation. So do we need to see the text, or are we just going to say I can have menacing?
What is the...
I don't know. That's weird.
Skills.
Menacing.
Combat.
This one, it's a social one.
Yeah. So professional. Social.
Novice, anyone of bloodthirsty, mean, ruthless, or ugly. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have to have a hindrance. One of those hindrances.
Danger sense, don't need anything like that. Notice roll at +2 to sense ambushes or similar weapons. So, what is that? Notice roll?
Danger sense.
Danger sense. Notice roll. I have one more still?
Yep. You can use it for a skill, you can use it for an edge.
Let's use it for a skill. Let's pop up my electronics one more. because if I've got some cybernetics, I should at least to know how they work a little bit. So I can, now that I've had some bad ones, I can be like, I don't like that, I don't like this, and I can repair this.
All right. So, here it is. Sure, we're getting to the end here.
Any powers and weapons, and maybe some
Edges, then gear, then background details. So, yeah, we can get your powers. So, powers, so there's a lot to them, a lot going on. So we should talk about like what the warp casting can do and what's its shtick. So it's
we get it from transference through the warp.
Through the gates.
Through the gates, they inflict something. So maybe...
Is it weird, like, positional or movement stuff? Like, is it like you can... Since it comes from the ability of these gates to teleport you across the world, is it stuff like, I can put a shield around me because bullets just don't come to me or don't get to me, or I can manipulate... and grab things from a distance.
I do like the transference of object, because that's basically what the warp would have been anyway. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So, thinking about that, keeping that in mind, you're going to get 3 powers from this list. I don't know if there's actually a list of powers anywhere. Power edges, but like... Let's see if they have a master list behind it all.
Oh, it smells so good. I love the way new smell. I always joke and say that D&D is a hobby, or D&D is a nice thing to do if your hobby is studying. But I also teach, so like all I do is like study and present.
So here is just quick power descriptions.
Perfect.
So you can look over. Some of them just probably wouldn't fit the.
So I like the idea of barrier, because that makes sense. Oh, I have to be seasoned though.
Is that true? Is that true? Let's see.
Seasoned, yep.
Rank seasoned. So.
These are done alphabetically rather than...
Rank a character must be to learn that power. Alright, so that makes sense.
So you can only do ins. Dark side deflection, kind of the same idea.
Yes. Deflection is, I think, fighting or shooting.
It's a D. Let's keep going.
Yep.
Deflection.
Deflection power works in a variety of ways, some manifesting actually deflect incoming attacks, others blur the target from produce illusory effects. The end result is always the same, however, to misdirect incoming melee and missile attacks from the recipient of the power. Once cast, foes must subtract 2 from their attack rolls directed at the user, or 4 with a raise, and it lasts for 5 rounds. So yeah, you just put that up there and it's like...
That's deflection.
Yep. Deflection.
Power points. Let's see, it says right here.
Yeah. But I want to also look at trappings. So, Mystical Shield, Gust of Wind, Phantom Servant that intercepts missiles. Yours is, a blur.
Would be like I'd say it would be a Mystical Shield, because what it does is it's
well, we can make our own trappings. Trappings just like that. It's a warp blur that deflects incoming.
It sends it somewhere else.
Yeah. All right. So PowerPoints is 3.
That means to cast?
Yes. Now,
range is self, right?
So the range is smarts. So this power normally comes with the ability to cast on other people or yourself. We can put a limitation that it is just a personal thing for you.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
so
smarts.
The range is now self.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay. The power points are now 2. Because you can only do it to yourself.
I like it.
So that's how this kind of, you start to customize these powers.
Man, so you could sit here for a couple of weeks and just write your own game and put all this and give all this stuff names and only offer certain things to your players and stuff like that. Wow.
All right.
Summer fun intensifies.
So that's your first power.
All right, I like it. Burrow. That would make sense. Oh, I was saying intangibility would make a lot of sense too. That I become the warp, yeah. Mind reading wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
And I figure there's also psionics in this world. Like people's, like other races have such mental capacity that some of these things fit for psionics. Some of them are for warp casting.
Let's do wall walker. So that would be like maybe gravity redirection using the warp.
Yeah,
so
it's correspondence redirection. Gravity for you is now this way.
Yeah.
Wall walker. So
PowerPoints.
Look it up because we might be putting a limitation on this one as well. It's just for you. So the range is smart, so you can cast this on other people. Mm-hmm. Is this something you want just for yourself?
I think it would be something. Yep. I think the warp stuff would make sense if it was more personal, because I'm getting the.
So power points is 1. Duration is 5.
Whoops! What was the duration for? Oh, 5 was the duration for deflection too. So 5 for this as well. Okay.
And you can't use that modifier.
Oh, what was the? This is half speed movement, right?
Wall walker allows the recipient to walk on vertical or horizontal surface with success. She moves at half her normal pace. With a raise, you may move at full normal pace.
The effect for deflection was like -2 or something.
-2, -4 with a raise. Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, one more.
Zombie.
Yeah. Raise and control the undead. Entangle. You can take a fighting power like bolt.
Actually,
blast
entangle
someone.
might be fun if I warped like a depth of the
yeah, you just warp around them and they can't move out of it. Like ooh.
Yeah, let's go entangle then. Okay. So now I've got the defense, the
utility.
Yeah, and then I don't know, what would you call this? Like a trap almost?
Yeah, it's a debuff. It's a
debuff.
Area denial. Entangle, so...
Range would be smarts for sure.
Range would be smarts. So in this game, it's using inches on a board. So the range is his smarts, which is a D6. So it'd be 6 inches. But to convert that into the real-world mind's eye theater, it's 2 yards per inch of the in-game measurement. So it's 12 yards away. You can
6 feet, gotcha. Duration?
Duration is instant. Entangle allows the caster to restrain a target with whatever. If successful, the target is entangled. With a raise, he's bound. Victims may break free on their turn, as detailed under bound and entangled.
Okay, so the effect is bound.
Bound / entangled with a raise.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Okay. So that's your powers. You have.
So I like these because this means I've got some actual fighting skills right here. Some stuff that I would have collected as like kind of a, not a mercenary, but more like a handyman of any kind. But then the warp would have been weird things that don't necessarily help me unless I kind of use them in smart ways. And so I've learned to kind of phase out parts of the, or maybe even phase you. That's the entangle.
Yeah, just
he's
like,
you're in subspace.
He has to try to push himself through the other space-time. Okay, so we're going to get your derived characteristics now, which are those 3 circles at the top middle.
Yep.
Pace, parry, and toughness. So your pace is... Standard pace is 6. That's just normal, medium-sized being is 6.
6 inches?
So that's 6 inches, so that's cool. 12 yards a turn that you can move around during your action. Your parry is half your fighting die type.
4.
Plus 2.
6.
So that is a good parry because the average difficulty of this game is 4, so that you are that much more difficult to hit. Toughness, your size is 0. I don't know if it has that up there.
It does not have size anywhere that I see.
Because I think it's only if you're weird that you'll need that. Alright, toughness is your hero's damage threshold. Damage rolls that equal or exceed this number cause harm.
Half your strength plus 2.
Half your vigor plus 2.
Well, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
5.
That's the kind of normal, like, average.
I was just looking for a 666.
So close.
So close.
You got your edges. So now we're going to go through some gear. So you have $500, but the dollars in this, they kind of convert through the different gear lists. So $500 in the fantasy gear list is like 500 gold pieces versus like the fantasy or the sci-fi $500 is like, what would a computer cost a normal person in a sci-fi world? It's cheap as hell at that point. You know, everyone's carrying them around. So
maybe we'll get like burner electronics, you know, that kind of stuff. Like I just need a, you know, I just need a disk drive for 30 seconds worth of use. These are like, these are gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, I have my own set of real, you know, poker chips, but these are so slick. Why not use so slick.
Yeah, they have the logo on them and everything. Okay. And they sound heavy when you drop them.
And I'm wondering if they're weighted, because like the original poker chips were, you know, made out of clay and actually really heavy, but as they went over to resin or plastic, they started putting little metal wafers in them to give them the same weight as the clay chips.
Yeah.
Like the.
I don't see why not.
I mean, these obviously are heavy. Like, I'm just
something
wondering
about it too. When you throw it out on the table, it shouldn't go too far. You know, it should stay where you want it. Ah, these are nice.
Okay. So we do not have. Well, I don't have the one for this, and it could be updated, and I think I have it as a PDF, but I just want to stick to the core rulebook. I don't have the sci-fi compendium, which would have the cybernetics in it.
Gotcha. So we don't have to say that those are super useful. Like I said, they're kind of shitty, so it'd be more like I can see in the dark, or...
So in this case, like you would take a night vision goggles, and we will say that that's a cybernetic eye type of thing.
All right.
In games like Rifts and things like that, cybernetics do have their own rules. Generally, they cause strain, and you can only have so many cybernetics up to a certain point of strain. And I think that is equal to your toughness value, could be equal to your vigor type. Before, if you get more cybernetics, it starts to hamper you as a living being. So yeah, just look at gear. Find stuff that can work for what you want as the cybernetics, and pay the price.
Grab a weapon.
Grab a weapon or two, maybe some armor.
I'm shuffling because we seem to have a problem with that when we play games that need shuffling. Like, see, these jokers are still stuck even after 2.
Those are jacks, buddy.
Still, yeah. Well, I mean, just the aces are still only like a couple apart. I've done a couple of different shuffles.
Hold on, this is what irks me.
They're all facing the right way. I know how you get irked.
Yeah.
I know how you get irked.
Get all the cards facing the same way.
I kept that in mind. I'm kind of the same way.
Alright. So do you want to go through this? Or you want me to...
No, I'll go through it. I was just doing this for a second while you looked.
So in that case, like, goggles would be the night vision eye right here. So this is just common gear stuff.
Oh, okay, so this is gear.
Yes.
Let's see how to do... where did you just...
Goggles.
Point goggles. Let's have 500, right?
You have 500.
Grappling hook, that would be pretty good.
Like, shoots out of your arm or something.
Lighter. Soap. Ooh, toolkit's expensive.
And then it kind of goes into...
Oh, that's just clothing stuff.
And then it starts going into armor and weapons. So that is medieval and ancient.
That's cool.
Modern, future.
Energy skin.
Yeah, pick things from modern and future. Like future has like the power armor and all that kind of battle suit.
Infantry battle suit.
Yeah.
I don't have enough money for any of this stuff. Yeah, that's actually really nice. There's the weapons. I want to make sure I have a weapon before I start getting crazy.
And there's lasers on like the back ones, rain and melee weapons, of course, because you have a better fighting than you have shooting, don't you?
Molecular knife. Oh, laser sword is really expensive.
Yeah, really?
Right, I know.
You don't say.
Black powder weapons, pistols, machine guns, shotguns, rifles. Laser guns. Laser pistol.
Pew pew pew.
Alright. Laser pistol.
Damage on that. 2d6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
6
Everything is kind of
range.
normalized in this game.
Yeah.
So the laser pistol does pretty much the same as a 45 from modern times, and it keeps things pretty level because escalation is a big problem in this game. The one problem I have with Savage Worlds is how they do their damage system, because it is a threshold, and with exploding dice, it can be really easy to kill someone outright, completely just unintentionally, or it could be damn impossible to ever hurt someone, especially in games like Rifts where they give ridiculous armor values. And it's a threshold damage system, so you have to actually roll that to hurt them. That becomes the target number. As I said, the normal target number is 4. In Rifts, some of the power armors had 12s and 16s and 20s for their armor value, which you just have to... The dice you have to roll to hit that for damage becomes pretty excessive. Otherwise, people just can't hurt you. I guess that makes sense. I mean, you wouldn't want a pistol to hurt you, but then again, everyone's carrying around massive guns at that point to try to be able to hurt the big things, which would wipe out anyone, anywhere else.
Actually, okay, I saw something over here. Perfect. All right. So that would be. Minimum strength. Oh, I have to have that to wield it. I got it.
Yeah.
Alright, so I don't have to worry about that. Cost is nothing.
Oh, your fist?
No, it's a staff.
Oh, okay.
It's a long piece of conduit tubing that I basically took off, so it's a composite material that's lightweight. It's two-hand though, that's the only problem, but it's cheap. Alright. So I bought a body armor, which gives me +4 to my AP, I guess. AP is...
No, not to AP, but to armor.
Go actually to the armor. So, yeah, +4 to armor.
Oh, armor's in the front. Ugh.
So I took to body armor.
Body armor. So +4 armor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a note, which is... What are these asterisks? Don't know. It doesn't say anything for the asterisks. Oh
wait, go back to that body armor. So it's 200 for torso or arms or legs.
No, that's what it covers.
Oh,
torso,
okay.
arms, and legs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is it right here? There it is. No, that's
No.
exclamation or quotation points. Arms,
Energy
keys.
skin. Any armor listed below may be treated with an energy skin to diffuse energy reducing damage from lasers by 4.
That might be what that.
This costs... No, it costs 50% more, but I don't think that's what it is. We'll see in a second.
Sure.
Armor. Armor can stack with one another, but the lesser armor layer gets half its ability. And armor can only stack twice. So that's good to know. There really is like no explanation. Personal defense, pepper spray, stun gun, surveillance, bugs, and all that stuff. Computers and electronics, handheld.
Well, I have $18 left. So.
All right, let's try to figure this out. So none of these have the asterisks, but several of these have them. Armor marked with an asterisk reduces the damage from bullets by 4. Bullets includes physical shots fired from a firearm. So yours is, any of the ballistic slug throwers.
Oh, that makes sense because it has advanced ballistics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like Kevlar does the same thing.
Cool. So I bought a laser pistol. I have a staff that's $10. I basically just had the thing strengthened a little bit, and then body armor. That's what I bought.
Okay.
Let's give him one of those. Let's use one of those stupid Star Wars names makers to give him a name.
Good call. Fantasy name generator, come to the rescue.
If you guys aren't using fantasy name generator, you're working too hard.
It's so good.
So these are Rumble Winds. Axe Grove. La Ligue de l'Option. I'll put them in French for order names. Oop.
All right.
My name is Shiap Chum. It's kind of Star Warsy. How do I determine my bennies?
You have 3 normally, but you're lucky, so you have 4. You start the game with 4.
You already have them, yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty. Conviction, is it something I have to write myself or something that shows up as a thing?
Oh yeah, that's one of the things. How you get Benny's back? It's one of the things that in my games I completely ignore normally.
Okay, well let's give it
because it's like alignment or something like that. What does your character want?
Yeah.
What does he believe in?
He doesn't care about anything really, so that wouldn't make sense anyway.
His own well-being and
freedom.
Yeah. Skills, attributes. Breaking the mold.
Is that guy a drummer?
Probably.
Space drummer.
Just coughing out of nowhere.
That time of year, end of January, beginning of February, when we have a little bit more rain and it's still cold outside, and then everybody gets sick.
Like it isn't even talking about like convictions on that character sheet. Nowhere in the character creation does it talk about conviction.
Is there an appendix? Maybe you can look it up.
So you can look it up while I'm working on this.
Sweet.
And talk to the camera.
So this is kind of fun because we, or at least both of us, I should say, we have experience playing Savage Worlds. He's adjusted the template for a number of games that we've played. Conviction, there it is. Conviction is a special reward granted when a character experiences a great victory or catastrophic misfortune.
It's if you have it or not.
Use a themed token to note the award, maybe a Marshal's badge for Deadlands, or a Benny of a different color, or a toy doubloon for 50 fathoms, and so on. Conviction can be spent to add a d6 to a final trait or damage roll. This die can ace, and its result is added to the final total. Not just a lot of game mechanics, but that's kind of...
It's a super Benny, basically.
Oh, that's a book. That's the halfway page too, almost like it's center bound. This is a well-made book. When did this come out?
Just last year.
Oh, there's different logos. I guess these are just the sword logos. There should be skull and ray gun and zeppelin too.
Yeah. If you wanted to give specific things out.
Like this is the zeppelin one.
Sorry about that.
No,
just
okay.
looking things up.
I probably shouldn't have been silent there for a second. I was just thinking about something. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, since nobody's here at the moment, we play the Wiley verse every Wednesday. We have a regular D&D campaign going on right now. We also do Wiley versus Mitch when we ever have a free day, usually on Tuesdays, and we're trying to pick up Sunday for a Salt Marsh campaign right now. We started it once. We didn't get to play this Sunday. We're not going to get to play next Sunday either, right? I think the next Sunday is also...
I think they're out as well.
Yeah. So it's kind of on hiatus at the moment, but we still throw stuff in when we have spare time. We play Talisman sometimes. The board game. We played the role-playing game as another Wiley versus Mitch if you want to look at the channel. And if you are here and if you are watching this and you come to the chat, we really encourage conversation. We have a lot of fun talking to people. We also allow the Twitch purchase for points, viewership points, to buy inspiration, which lets you help the characters re-roll, either the characters that are playing or the DM, so you can actually participate. We take suggestions from the crowd sometimes too, which ends up having some interesting ideas. It's a good time. If you do show up and you follow, like I said, we play pretty randomly sometimes, so we're always going to be here on Wednesday. Even though today, like, we're missing our characters for our main game, so instead we're playing Wiley versus Mitch. This is the second one in a row, second week in a row, or just the third week?
Second week in a row. But we didn't do it Tuesday.
But we've done. Oh, what? Is this 6? Is that what this one is? We've done several.
Oh god, we've done several. There's a playlist.
We did a Masquerade. We did a Masquerade. We did a Mass Effect. No, sorry, we did Expanse. Right? Is that what we did?
We did Expanse.
Expanse.
Vampire Masquerade.
We did a Earth Dawn. We did TMNT. Yeah, and then we did. The last one we just did was the Talisman role-playing game, and this is Wiley versus me. Yeah, this is 7 actually. I think if we got them all, the Savage Rifts one, or Savage World. Excuse me, I keep mixing it up. So we played the Rifts game, like I was saying earlier, but Wiley doesn't care for the system, and after going over it and looking at some of the Palladium stuff, it really doesn't.
Oh, the actual Palladium?
Yeah, the actual Palladium role-playing system, we're not huge fans of it, so we've actually, Wiley adapted it, and we've played the Savage Worlds rules with Rifts. So we played Savage Rifts.
It's one of the IPs that they actually have license for, so they put that out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice.
Savages, which is really cool because then these action cards, the ones that you use for inspiration for initiative, they have a set of Rifts cards, and we were really kind of fawning over them when we first got them, and we were looking at them, and we actually found a character that we had to really research to try to find. It was that female floating thing with the lightning. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, she's a member of the Coalition's family.
Yeah.
Like it's,
that's right.
It's Prosk. It's one of Prosk's kids.
We had to really dig around for that, which kind of gave us a reason to study Rifts a little bit, which is fun. Like I said earlier, D&D and role-playing games are really for people who like to study, to a degree, I should say. I like to GM every so often too. I'm getting better at it, hopefully, but I don't know. Did some End of the World stuff. Also, if you've never played that, if you're looking for a good beginning role-playing game, I like End of the World. We'll have to do that one of these days, because that one...
Yeah.
Well, that one would be more fun if we had a couple more people, too, because it's supposed to be played in a single night, in like a 6 to 8 hour session if you want to go that long. I think the actual rules go for 4 to 6. But you play yourself, is what you're supposed to do if you play the main core rules. You have 3... attributes to work on, so you have strength, intelligence, and then wherewithal kind of thing, mental capacity, and you put down what you think using a point pool, and then you have to vote on it, like, hey, do you guys think this makes sense for me? And then you kind of argue about it a little bit and get knocked down a peg or put one on an extra side, that sort of stuff. And so it kind of starts with contention. Then you announce a disaster basically that's ending the world, and the characters try to survive until they're all picked off. And there's options for it that are fun, like, giving everybody 10 minutes to search the house for stuff that they can bring with them. So if it's not in the house, you don't get it. There's other ones for crafting the thing. So he has a couple of the real ones. I bought I did buy the End of the World. Mm-hmm. So I got the Lovecraftian Mythos one for me, which I thought was a lot of fun, because then I've read some of his books, and Wiley got me a field guide to some of the monsters that are mentioned and stuff, and some that have been made up by a couple of people. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
All right. So, you've got a character. He is a guild enforcer. He's got some poor cybernetics, a couple guns, a staff. Big stick. His want and dream is just to be left alone, live free, and survive. Seems.
So conviction would be.
No. Conviction is a super mini. Yeah,
that's right.
Which actually, it's the Flash Gordon Savage Rifts Worlds. They actually have a big old token for the conviction.
Look at that! I never even noticed. There it is, right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And the Rifts one has that too.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that. Yeah, I don't know anything about Flash Gordon. I never got into the. I never watched it or read any of the comics or anything like that yet.
That's somewhere back there. But it also has that.
I see the main core book, the original one right there.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about I have the box set for the Rifts Savage Worlds.
Gotcha.
Which is all defunct now, and I bought the new one because we started playing Rifts, and we played it for a year, and that's when they announced that they were going to do a whole new edition.
Yeah.
And so part of getting this edition, I added on that I wanted all the Rift stuff too. So I'm getting that when it's being released, which is soon, actually, very soon. So we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
All right.
My name's Shiop Chum. Shiop. S-H-I-O-P. Shiop. But my friends call me Chum. I'm just kidding. My enemies call me Chum. Hey, Chum. Fuck you. Here's the fun part about playing a game on the fly. Just a little bit of quiet steady. It happens. By the way, we're not sponsored by White Claw, but we could be. I think while you study, I might go to that restroom real quick.
All right.
And then you talk. Last one. It's not the last one.
All right, so I'm just kind of doing some world building, some real quick world building for his, pretty much where he's at, where the character is at. I quickly make a planet name. I've got some other names down. All right, so this world is a space fantasy world, a space opera, so it's not hard science. Humanity sometime way in the past has discovered a gate. These gates can be configured by basically radio transmitting at them to go to different locations. We started discovering through these gates other civilizations, and that there's a massive civilization out there. Just no one had ever found our gate before. There's a bunch of aliens. I think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or Titan AE, or a little bit of Star Wars, but the more goofy, prequels. Just lots of races. Everyone kind of
racists.
Races.
I mean, if you had a lot of races, you'd probably have racists too.
All over the place, doing their own thing, exploiting and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, you got to have that human perspective out there. That just kind of getting by and turning everything into a, money-making scheme.
Sounds good.
Which is kind of where you're at. The planet you are on is called Verdant Dot. It was called Verdant Dot because when looked through a telescope, it was green, and everyone, they hoped there was going to be a garden world. It is not. It has a pretty crazy, nasty atmosphere, but underneath that layer that's kind of holding out the overly hot sun, there is a habitable zone. So they just industrialized all that, and the main export of this planet is the gas that is above it. So eventually they're going to actually drain the only thing that keeps this planet habitable and sell it off.
That sounds very high from 40K.
Yeah. So, but there's all these basically just drudgy metropolis, kind of like dirty, dingy, dystopian cities underneath these clouds. There's all these refineries that go all the way up into the atmosphere and draw the clouds and make them. But everyone kind of lives under this dirty green pall. When the sun is up, it's lighter green, and when the sun is down, it's like dark green at night. Everything's green. People actually wear glasses to change the color that they can see through.
It would hurt your eyes after a while. You'd start reducing cone function.
So, of course, when you go indoors, there's full lighting and everything is fucking colorful as can be, and they have holograms of green pastures, but they really get people, suckers, to come out here and colonize and work in the factories because they call it Verdant Dot, and they talk about how lovely it is. The company that's in charge of the colony and the refinement process is Myriad Progressive. They've got you in mind. They're just a whole shitty corporation that doesn't care, wants cheap labor, doesn't want to help people. They get them out here as cheap as can be, get them working in this refinery with the worst of conditions. Green lung is like a disease here that in the bad parts of the refinery you breathe too much of that atmosphere and you start coughing up your lungs. People actually start getting almost like jaundice, but green, because they spend so much time around the gases. So there's that. But you are part of Public Shift. Public Shift, it's got the Rosie the Riveter kind of arm is the symbol with a V for victory or nothing to do with Public Shift. That's just your symbol. But Public Shift it's supposed to be a union, but there's no unions allowed by Myriad Progressive. So you're basically just a bunch of thugs and enforcers that are extorting. You can't really extort the company, so you're extorting the people as well.
Gotcha.
But because people come out here and they get stranded and they don't want to work in the refinery, there is a very healthy underworld here. Lots of gambling, lots of smuggling. It's a great place to go and get not seen. So lots of people come here to lay low for a while, and those people that are coming here to lay low are generally kind of wealthy, because they probably stole from someone they shouldn't have, and that's why they're laying low. So there's a lot of hustle and bustle underneath the green cloud, underneath Myriad Progressive's watchful gaze, and you are a part of that. You're one of the people that's moving and shaking the hustles. Myriad Progressive has their own security for their assets, but for colony security, they've hired out White Star Custodians. White Star Custodians are just brutal, don't give a shit about people, enforcers. They want to hit their quotas every year, every month, so they take people in for whatever, and you have to essentially buy your way out of their cells. They're just lockdowns. That's who you're wanted with. So you have a bad rep with them. You've already been in their cells 2 or 3 times.
Gotcha.
They just have it out for you.
Cool.
If they see you, they're gonna get you.
White Star. They're gonna try to get you.
The custodians. So you're in one of the HAB sectors. Your primary HAB sector. The refineries are kind of dominate the center of this area, and you're in one of the outlying neighborhoods where HAB blocks are, the low rent places that they established for that. But some money came in, and one of the old business complexes was here, so there's some nice places to stay here as well. And you're in not one of those, but you're also not in one of the HABs.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a normal night for you. You need to go out and do your rounds. So you need to hit the clubs, the casinos, the bars that are in your circuit and
shake
them out. You need to get your money. You need to make sure that they're moving product and doing what they should be doing, whatever that is at that particular establishment, and make your own cheddar while you're out there doing it.
Gotcha.
First on your list is what? You want a casino? You want a bar? You want a restaurant? Or you want a dance hall?
First, so I can get some lubrication.
Okay. Dive or upscale?
Dive.
Okay. So you head down to the dark corner. That's what it's just called, and it is literally just in a dark corner of 2 other buildings. There was a space, and they walled up that space and put a bar into it. So it is a triangular shaped between, this wall is plasticrete and this wall is brick, and the wall in front is just kind of cheap plastic plaster up with a door and everything, and the bar is just right at the end, a little wedge section in the back with some tables, a little stage for someone to get up and strum a guitar or blow into a synth hooter, and whatever the hell a synth hooter is. Just a little hole in the wall, a little dark corner. So
it's just about to say, what the fuck is a synth hooter?
Yeah. Do you bring your assistant to the first
I have an
run?
assistant.
You have an assistant, Ava 9, an android, sent to here to keep.
No, the corner I think probably here, especially if it's my first round of the night, I might not shake them as hard because I kind of like having.
This is your place.
Yeah,
You're nice to them, they're nice to you.
Yeah,
so
I'm supposed to shake them for a certain amount of money, and I take about half of it, and I take the rest like in drinks and kind of notoriety, that sort of thing. So
all right.
I'm protecting them for cheaper because I like it here.
Okay. So you walk into the dark corner. The bouncer waves you in. The bouncer is an ogreish style alien brought in for brute labor. They're just one of the big rock jawed aliens of the galaxy that's exploited for their strength and size. But you sit there and you just sup. What do people call you?
Shiop's fine. Yeah.
Sup, Shiop.
Because I hate my last name is Chum, which means friend. I fucking hate it. I worked with a friend once. My last name was Friend. Business as usual. Just here for pick up and a couple put downs.
Well, shift change just it's like shift changeover just ended, so it's kind of dead in there.
Perfect. That's what I like. Wait, you trying to tell me there's no money?
No, shift change is pretty good.
All right. I actually have. I mean, there's no money in it. There's no money in here. All right, I'll head on in.
He's like, no, that's right. Business is good.
All right. That would have been a different conversation. So, I'm assuming because of what I just said that people know me here. So even though it's dead, the bartender's going to recognize me.
Yep.
And know what I'm here for.
Yep. So the bartender is an amorphous race. He is kind of a big green jelly creature with multiple tentacles.
The Hanar?
He doesn't float. He actually, like, they slop around. But just imagine a green dollop of blob with organs, like, that just float inside. And then he puts, like, a wife beater over top of it and ties an apron around, like, this thing. And he has a face that comes up, and it just kind of has, like, the mouth, and there's a couple sensory organs right at the edges of the glop. And there he is. They actually have little voice boxes, like, installed into their gloop so they can talk. Hi, Shia! What's going on?
No, business as usual. Just here for 2 fingers and maybe a small band.
Glasses come out, blink, blink, blink. And they, like, you always wonder about the cleanliness of his race, because when he grabs things, it just envelops. So when he grabs glasses, like, blink, 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 and he grabs the bottles and...
my amoebic friend, I could watch you make drinks all day.
Why don't you sometime? We would love the business.
Work keeps me busy. I think you understand.
You can use this to track your wounds or fatigue. There's multiples of them if you want multiples.
What a cheap, interesting,
good
idea.
Like ammunition, like anything like that.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
All right.
Wow. How many bullets do I have?
I don't know. I mean, does it say? Did it say in your laser?
Maybe it did. I didn't see it. Hold, please.
Hold, please. It's right. Like, I'm pretty good at, like, finding stuff in books like this. So you have a laser pistol. It has 50 shots. So
yeah, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But I'll keep track of how many I shoot just in case.
All right.
So I can just go. Let's say 20 in a clip, and I have 2.5 clips.
So, you sit there. There's a couple other people here. There's, like, the regular that's, just sauced in the corner, getting his watered down drinks because he's here all day, every day.
His name's Kimbo.
His name is Kimbo.
I'll tell you what. Government.
Oh, that myriad progressive. Right out to get you.
So I'll have my drink, and I'll probably ask Amoeba here what what's his name?
Let's call him Murray.
Murray. just going to keep calling him Amoeba. His name's Murray, but that's my nickname for him.
All right.
He probably doesn't even know what an amoeba is because he's never seen a single cell. Anyway, I would probably just ask him, what's the haps? Does he have anything going on? Anything he heard about? Anything, rumors, rousing?
He gives you, like, the local gossip. A lot of workers and from whatever the factories and other industries that work around here, they stop in here during shift change. So, he gives you kind of like the normal scoop. And about mid that conversation, the door opens and a guy walks in, and he's in kind of just like a ratty coat, and his arms aren't through the coat. His arms are like inside. He's just wrapped, right? It is one of those cloaks that you would get out of a vending machine at the starport to like, hey, like you need some environmental protection. Here you go, and it's like a yellow rain beater kind of coat, just draped over and really pulled tight. So someone's trying to hide. But the person walks in, and everyone kind of looks up, and then everyone looks back.
Probably do the whole lean on the bar thing. Look at you.
Look at him. But the person walks in, and scans the place. He is, whoever this is obviously like, is there danger? What's going on?
Does it look like he's casing the place, or does it look like he's looking for someone? Or you said it looks like he's just making sure he can sit down.
Right. He's looking for danger. And then he kind of like turns around, and just a little like ruffle from the underneath the coat, someone follows in afterwards. There's another person also wrapped up in one of those coats, at which point they both go over to like the most corner table away from everyone and sit down.
Gotcha. Do they have any kind of... Oh, you said one of the cloaks are from the starport. I was going to say, do they have any other distinguishing marks?
Make a notice check to see if you can see anything more in the gloom underneath.
Notice 6.
So, because you're a wild card, you are a player character, you roll an additional d6, and you choose the higher of the two. That's what differentiates the player characters from just the normal, everyday people.
5.
You should also like have one that's a different color, just to be sure, but that's fine.
Again. Yeah.
Well, you got 5?
5.
All right. It's a success. Underneath the second one that came in, you see like very, very black. Like you've actually noticed how much more black it was than the surrounding. Like Vanta black, absorbing light, cloth coming out, and it didn't have a part, so it looked like a skirt or a dress style. Something, a full robe or something like that.
Is that would that be any sort of thing I would recognize, like a uniform or like an expensive cloak?
No, but it's expensive. Like to have, like, that's not something you would see on someone here, except for a corporate, like someone way up in Myriad Progressive MP. But the person is also, the second person is fairly thin and tall.
I'm here by myself, but I might as well make myself known, especially if you look like you have a couple bucks. So,
as you're getting up and about to walk over there, the door opens up again, and Ava 9 walks in.
All right.
Your assistant. Mr. Chum.
Shia.
Right, Mr. Chum. Sorry I'm late. You didn't tell me you were starting your route tonight. She has her little PDA, which she's plugged into. Yes. Well, how did things go here? Are you finished yet, or are you about to go to the next
So far, so good. I'll look at Amoeba. I'll look at Murray and be like...
So Amoeba, like when they came in and sat down, they have like a little table order, so they can order at the table. When he pours the drinks, he actually just like separates a part of himself, and that thing carries the drinks over.
Gross. So I would be kind of like, hey, before I do anything rash or act, I'd kind of want the money for this shake.
Okay, so he's like reaches down into his, which only like slimes into the register and pulls out the credits. It's actually the currency. It's the MP like ration currency basically.
So like kilocalories, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So drops it down, which Ava's like...
Yeah. I'll probably just give it to her since she's... Now, when it's an android, is she like super loyal, or is this like a race? Because I see it as a race.
She is a race, but she's purpose-built for something, and whatever that purpose was, she was probably brought here by MP to do something, but now she works for Public Shift. So who knows how she got there, but that's just her life. She's an accountant-style android that is just here to make sure business runs as usual.
I'll pass the cash to her then, because I want to make sure that everybody sees that, like, I take it, I give it to her, that kind of thing. So I want to just force myself. But yeah, if I get into a fight or beat up, or if I get stabbed, I don't lose all the money for massive progress.
She like unzips her bodysuit, and a rib cage compartment opens up, secure compartment.
I'm like, why is everything so gross?
I mean, it's not like an actual rib cage.
I know, there's like ribs, and there's like amoeba guy. I'm like, gross. All right, now I'm gonna go kind of walk myself over and
okay. And like she's trying to bother you with minutia of the job.
Exactly. So I probably would like to start with like a whole, hey, this is a Myriad Progress bar. Like,
Myriad Progressive.
Progressive.
So as you are coming up, make me another notice check.
5 and a 4, and which one is supposed to be the special one? What are we talking about?
The wild die. Let's do the pink as the wild die.
So 5.
So 5. Yeah. You hear like his hands are underneath the coat, underneath the table.
This is before I've gotten to speak to him or anything. As I walk out.
So this is as you're approaching. You see he shifts to like kind of like face you, and you hear something powers up.
I'm gonna probably keep my distance, but I would probably still say the same thing. Hey, chums. This is a Myriad Progressive, right?
Yeah, Myriad
Progressive bar. It's got a pretty... I shouldn't say... I'll just say that first.
Yeah. A very light but monotone response comes back from the figure that's facing you, and that... Not the second figure that came in, the first one. It says, aren't all establishments here Myriad Progressive?
You'd think that, but some are more friendly than others, this being the latter. Maybe a couple bucks to keep that seat reserved.
Turns, like the hood turns to the other one, that hood turns. Nothing is said. You see just the slightest of movements and inclinations of like the head or something. And then it turns back. We do not possess your currency here.
I mean, anything can really kind of be currency if it's worth something.
Turns back some more. Like, you see, he kind of like is turning back, and then a long, like, slender hand that's gloved in that kind of Vanta black cloth comes from the other one, the second one, and it pulls up just this wafer of a very valuable metal stamped from a very like far off place. This is currency that is worth a lot. Just produces it, holds it out.
All right. Well, since we're all friends, what brings you fellas in here?
Solitude.
It's not what we're all looking for. Sometimes I think solitude would cost a little extra. I'm just kidding. Just keep shaking. Alright, well, as long as you don't cause no trouble for Myriad Progressive, things should be fine around here. I'd probably go up and ask Amoeba if he recognizes any of these people, or these people, or if anybody knows what it's about. And there's a bouncer too. He probably doesn't know anything. He's just brought in. Yeah. How about Aya?
Ava 9. She's like, no, I don't even know what they are. What did they give you? And like you can just see like the lines of code running through her eyes. Like that is a very specific, or not specific. That is a very valuable currency. They just handed you that?
Yeah, where do you think this came from? Do you know where it came from?
It comes from...
Also, this isn't part of the Dark Corner's payment, by the way.
She's like, well, the metal comes from only several planets in the galaxy, all in the systems of the veins. But the stamping is one of the galactic hub presences. So just one of the standard clusters of empires, or the mainly habitable clusters of inner planets, so to speak.
Like an empirical seal for
there's probably 3 or 4 hubs that are like, there's so many people there and there's so many corporations there that they are authorities amongst the galaxy themselves. So they're like what you would call a nation, that they can actually make a military, enforce rules, take things to people, and that's a stamp of one of those. And out here on the fringe, that's really kind of like that doesn't concern you until something like that shows up and gets put in your palm.
Right. That's a weird thing to say. So now that I don't want to keep bugging these guys because they're looking for something.
And that's when you hear
another bird calls in.
Yeah. Well, maybe you hear the sound like thump, and you can feel it in your chest. Like it just takes the air out of everything around here. It's almost like a speaker, one of those air cannons, like something just that. The front wall shakes a little bit, and then something hits it. Very heavy and hard. And you hear something smash outside.
Gotcha. I look at Murray and be like, squish under the bar.
And,
come with me.
The man gets up, the male person in the red coat, and steps in front of the feminine-looking being.
Gotcha. I definitely send Ava to poke her head outside.
Yeah. You go like, what?
Well, these androids are built, right? Yeah, they're not people. That's for sure.
That's substrate chauvinism, buddy.
Exactly. Hey, this is the galaxy's a crazy place here. All right.
So you're just you tell him to squish behind the bar.
You squish behind the bar. You go poke your head out front.
Okay. The door and most of the wall around it blasts inside as Ava into the place, and there's this big armored thing. Like, it doesn't look human. It's probably some other larger set race, but it's not like the bouncer was. Like, he's not just a big dummy. He's just like a larger, imposing race. It's got like a spiked helmet of armor, fully encased armor. You can tell that it is electrified, so it's got the treatment for anti-lasers. And he's carrying this big gun. It's got like a huge handle, a spin-up barrel, like this entire thing in the front spins with a big core about that big, and it looks like it's just taking out everything.
How much bigger than me is he?
He's like a foot.
Okay, so it's not... I was thinking like...
Yeah, no.
All right.
This just looks like a super elite soldier style kind of person.
All right. I mean... Shoot. I guess shoot him in the... Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Now it's time to cards. So this is how initiative works. I'm going to hand out cards. I hand them out to players first. That's just how I do. If people have abilities that they get multiple cards or have multiple cards due to certain conditions, you always do that at the end. So you hand out one card to everyone first, and then go back through the lineup for any extra cards. Oh, another thing in this new version, you can spend a Benny to get another card to replace. So you can try to switch your initiative. So
we got.
3 of clubs, like the worst suit.
That's a traditional Mitch pull right there.
That is a traditional.
Let's go ahead and spin that.
Well,
let's
we get everything else first. So Ava's going to so Ava's your minion. So I'm going to give you a card for Ava and what she does. 10 of diamonds.
Of course, he's like 3 times quicker than
This is for the couple in the corner, the solitude people, 10 of hearts. And this is for the intruder, 4 of diamonds. Okay, so.
No, I don't need that thing. Yeah, let's do it, because let's spend the minis and go ahead and go with it.
9 of clubs.
Alright, that's still better. Alright.
So, you do not reshuffle. So as initiative goes, you keep a discard pile from all the rounds. Only when you get to a joker. When a joker is pulled, some things happen. Some extra things, depending on who pulled it. And that triggers you to reshuffle the discard after that round.
And that's really bad sometimes, because Dayton and I played Risk, we'd have a whole bunch of 1s, 2s, 3s, I got shit, 3, 3, 3.
And then it's starting to
and
get
then
to
a joker
the good
shows up
stuff.
and all those go back onto the top, and you're like, son of a bitch.
So.
Alright.
So 10 of hearts goes first. When there's 2 cards of the same suit, they actually have a suit hierarchy. So it's spades, then hearts, then diamonds, then clubs.
Alright, you're up.
So that person is sitting there in the corner. There's this hiss, like almost an and the coat just shreds off this side and starts like shredding and opening up. It's almost like there's wind going everywhere around him, and just this line perforates down the wall, through that thing, and on the other side. So let's see what he does.
Ooh, you got new dice.
Yeah, these are the dice from the Savage World set.
Super impressive. I like how they're just a little bit bigger.
Again, they have those symbols.
Yeah. Is this the same size here? Yeah, that is about the same size. Oh, that green one's still bigger. This green one's a monster.
So.
Let me see. That's cool, though. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to do the one with the ray gun.
Are those for 6s or 1s?
Those are
for
the
6s, yeah.
Those are for 6s. Yep.
That's
There's the one.
cool.
All right.
I like it.
Oh.
We're dice hogs over here at the Wileyverse. You can't even see it. Dice are just all over the place.
Sorry. It's multi-fire. Okay. Well, so when you're doing a gun with a rate of fire, so generally you'll just roll whatever skill you're doing plus the wild die and take the highest. But if a weapon has a rate of fire of higher than 1, you actually roll a die for each of the rate of fire. So his weapon is a rate of fire 3. I rolled 3d8. That's his shooting skill, and the wild die. The problem is I rolled a 1 on the wild die and a 1 on one of the dice, which indicates a jam or a failure. It's
kind of like getting a critical failure.
Yeah, rolling a 1 with your skill die is a critical failure. It's called a.
And that's what your D6 was, right?
Yeah, the D6 is the wild die. That's like one of the reasons like you'd really need to have it stand out. Like if you had D6s to shoot and you're just like rolling 4d6, you need to know for the ones which is which. All right. Critical failures. So a critical failure occurs when the wild card rolls a 1 on both the skill die and the wild die of a trait roll. The attempt automatically fails and something bad happens. A weapon is dropped, gets stuck, the attack hits a friend, a vehicle crashes, all kinds of bad stuff. Critical failures cannot be re-rolled, so you cannot spend a Benny. If you get a critical failure, you just have to take it. Right. Multiple dice. Some abilities allow characters to roll multiple trait dice, such as the Frenzy Edge or firing a weapon with a rate of fire higher than 1. Critical failure with multiple dice occurs when more than half the die results are a natural 1. If the character is a wild card, the wild die must be a 1 as well. So more than half my dice. So if I rolled 2 1s on my d8s, I would have critical failed. This one didn't, but one of his dies obviously misses. Actually, only one of his shots hits. So
gotcha. So it was very close to a critical failure.
Yes, but because
literally only
that's
one die face.
Yeah, it's because in the old system they kind of didn't really differentiate that, so you really kind of screwed yourself by doing rate of fire weapons. Because if you just got that, it would have been a jam. But now they have has to be more than half. All right, so the one hit that does hit. I'll just do these. It seems to...
Oh, it's a 7. I was like, damn,
7 and a 2 is 9. It's... Whatever these things are, it just shreds through... Oh, no. It looks like it's sparking and causing a whole bunch of flames and other, like, just... as it goes across this creature's armor. It doesn't seem to have hurt or penetrated that you could see. But you actually don't really know what's hitting it.
All right. Can I aim at something specific, or is that like a skill I'd have to use?
So, I'm kind of glad you asked that. Because this game, again, it's very cinematic. It's very wanting to be a pulp game and high adventure type of game. So, in a lot of games, you can do called shots, and they'll do extra damage if you get a higher target number, which is kind of silly because, and what this game kind of goes off of, you're always trying to kill your foe. Like, you're always trying to shoot for the most sensitive parts.
Yeah.
And that is what your skill is. Like, that's what the roll of the dice is, if you get a raise or not, things like that. So determining where you hit or how well you hit is already intrinsic in the skill roll itself.
Gotcha.
So called shots in this game are specifically for dramatic effect. If you're trying to shoot a gun out of someone's hand, or you're trying to do something very specific, it's not just I want to shoot him in the head to kill him.
No,
it's for something.
Which was going to be like shooting the gun because we can't seem to do any damage to his armor.
All right.
What does Ava have weapon-wise?
You know her to have a small little energy submachine gun that's like, it's about the size of this book, and it unfolds, and she just...
Well, then I would probably tell her to do that, then shoot the gun. Try to disarm it.
Shoot the gun, okay. She's going to use her movement to get over the bar. Okay. She kind of like jumps back, pulls out her little gun. Unfortunately, because of the gun's setup, because it is supposed to be concealed, it looks kind of almost like a purse or a computer, it takes an entire action.
Okay.
So she uses her movement to jump over, movement and part of an action, and then and flips out her.
Well, then I will
laser submission.
I'll staff it in the gun.
Charging it with everyone shooting at it.
Strength
bold move.
8. That's 4. Do I roll?
So what is? It's not strength. It's fighting.
Strength plus D4 for stat.
That's damage.
Oh, damage, duh. So it's fighting.
So you're fighting, you have to hit first.
D8.
So D8 plus the D6 wild die.
That's right.
You always get your wild die.
4 and a 4.
Doubles don't do anything.
Right.
He also has a parry that's higher than 4. So you gotta come up and like you're going for the weapon, like you're trying to like get it into the barrel or something to mess up with it. But he just kind of like, as you come up, he just turns it sideways and you're like pink and kind of fail.
So nimble.
But as you see now, like the hole, and he's standing in there, you see that the bouncer is on the ground outside. He was probably that thump that hit the thing, and his chest is just completely caved in on itself, and he looks like he was brought in afterwards. Like something hit it, and he just folded in on himself and down on the ground.
I'll just see a couple bucks in his pocket afterwards.
So that was...
It's actually his turn now.
Yeah. So it goes, you're sitting right there.
Oops.
Like,
oh yeah, we don't hit points or anything.
Yeah, it's 3 wounds.
Oh, that's right.
That's it.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Alright. He, since you're pretty close up to him now, you don't know what the kind of like what that gun does, charge rate, range, but he kind of just like shoulders it. It just comes down on a harness and sits kind of like right here as he lets it go, and then these like kind of wicked looking jabby claws come out of his armor, like 2 this way, 1 that way at the top, and he just and they spread out, and he's kind of turning into you as almost like these 3 blades of this weapon just try to cut you. So your parry. Let's do the sword chill. He's trying to get better than your parry. 7, I think, hits your 6.
Yep.
So he hits you. Now, his weapon is strength, which is a d10 plus a d6. So now, this roll doesn't have a wild die. It's not a trait roll. I'm adding these together, and I'm trying to beat his toughness with armor. So your toughness with armor is 9, right? Your armor is a 4?
4, and
yep.
my toughness, yep.
So he has a 9 with armor. I need to roll a d10 and a d6 and get higher than 9. 9, 10, 11, 12. So I got 9 on one die, so 12. So his toughness is a 9. To get a raise over his toughness, I have to beat it by 4 points. In this game, raises are extra effect on any trait test, and it's 4 points above whatever the difficulty number was. So 9 is your threshold to hurt you, but 13 is your threshold to wound. So he got 12. He didn't get the 13, so he doesn't wound you, but you are shaken.
Shaken, that's right.
So being shaken means you pretty much can do nothing unless, and on your turn you have to recover. One of the things they changed from this is...
Ooh, they gave you little stat cards.
Yep. It used to be that you had to take your action to get rid of shaken. Now they don't do that anymore. So recovering from shaken is a free action, and you do it on your turn automatically if you're shaken. If you succeed in your spirit test, you recover, and you can act normally. So that is a nice new feature. So here it is.
So I have no spirit ability, so I don't get to roll at all.
You have D4.
D4.
You always have a D4 in your main stats.
That's right. All right, cool.
So here's my status card. So here is Shaken, and I could have like the token to like put it on the map if he was doing that. But Shaken characters may only move, including running, and take free actions. So you can't take a real action. Roll Spirit to recover at the start of your next turn, or spend a Benny to remove this condition at any time. So, there we go. We're shaking.
He looks a little shell-shocked.
Shell-shocked. Whoa, that's not good.
Hey, this is like a direct bite from one of its Riff's drawings. The original one, there's the painted one.
Okay. So now that is the end of turn 1. Alright. And now we go to turn 2. So this is you, Queen of Clubs. This is Ava, 2 of Diamonds, or 2 of Hearts. This is the couple, the mysterious couple.
Strangers.
5 of Hearts. Actually, I should just be... I don't even know if you can see... it can come through pretty good.
Actually, they're big enough that we might actually...
and this
not too much
is
reflection.
the adversary, Joker.
God damn it.
So, he gets a Joker, which means I get a Benny for him.
Yeah.
I actually should have Bennies already. The GM starts with Bennies in accordance to how many players are in the game that he can use to help his... generally help his wild cards out, but it could be for any roles like extras and things like that. Which is actually, I'm thinking I should have done extras instead of put you up against a big dude first.
That's weird.
But extras in this, like extras are thugs or just, grunts. If you wound them, they're just out of the fight. So what you really do is you can shake them, and if you shake them again, you cause a wound. So shaking extra twice, or just getting that raise and wounding them puts them out of the fight. And that way you can have a bunch of thugs kind of run up and have the big hero knock them all down and then face the real challenge. And the real challenge don't have to be wild cards. Like, this guy is not a wild card. He doesn't roll... Did I roll a d6? I did roll a d6 for him. So he is a wild card. Never mind. But then you can have people that just have better skills and actual wounds. And then you can have wild card enemies that also roll the wild die and have all the same rules. They have bennies themselves. They always start with 2. So, but now I have one on his. With the Joker, I can go whenever I want. And I get +2 to any action I take with him. So,
and he goes first, right?
He can go whenever he wants.
Gotcha.
So he's going to see what you do. So he's going to let you start.
I'm going to roll my spirit.
Yep, roll your spirit to recover from shaken with the wild die.
What do I have to roll?
4, just basic success. No. So you can spend a Benny to just recover.
I don't want to, because I kind of want to see how the battle plays out, kind of thing.
Okay. So you can move.
All right.
If you want to get away from him.
No, I'm gonna remain engaged.
Okay. So you're just like, recovering from shaking, staying right up on him.
This is my overly confident.
That's true. He's gonna come at you again with the blades, the arm blades. So, shaken. You have all your normal defense. It's not any easier. You're not vulnerable or distracted or anything like that.
My parry was a 6.
Your parry's a 6. He got a 5 and a 3.
He beats the parry, but he doesn't.
Your parry's a 6, so he doesn't beat it.
Oh, that's right.
Those are individuals. They're not
That's
added.
right.
So let me just read real quick again, just to make sure that they don't get bonuses. I'm pretty sure they don't, because they really lessen the effect of shaken in this one, because it was very, very detrimental to non-combat characters. They would just get staggered the entire battle and do nothing. Enters toolkit. Innocent bystanders. That's a good one. Damage effects. Shaken. Shaken characters are nicked, bruised, or otherwise rattled. They may only take free actions such as moving, including running at the start of their turn. Shaken characters must attempt to recover from being shaken by making a spirit roll. This is a free action. Failure, the character remains shaken. She can only perform free actions. Success, the character is no longer shaken and may act normally. Spinning minis can get rid of it. So there is nothing more on shaken. This is just an example of taking wounds while shaken or not. Nope, that's it. So that's it. There's nothing. There's no penalties besides the fact that you just can't act.
So this is kind of the same thing that happened last time, where no wound is taken.
Well, in this case, you successfully parry. Like, you're sitting there, you're shaking and you're recovering,
that's right.
but he comes at you with that blade, and you bring that up, get the right between those 3 blades, you get your staff in there and deflect it out of the way. So,
All right.
Yeah. So, sorry, never mind. He gets the Joker, so he has a +2 to his roll.
Oh, so he definitely.
So he hit with his 7.
All right, hits with 7.
All right. So his strength is D10. His D10 plus D6 for his damage. That's 9. So this is going to shake you again, which will give you a wound, unless you want to spend a Benny.
No.
Like, you're lucky for a reason,
Well, I know, but
you had that.
I'm looking at the time. It's the only thing for me.
Yeah.
It's like I have to present tomorrow. So.
Okay. So you take a wound, which is going to give you -1 on all your rolls.
Okay. So I just kind of want to show a progression of the things. I think we should do a part 2 for this, because you were saying let's make another
character of a different world.
I think the next time we do Wiley versus Mitch, it should be the same thing, but we just make it completely different everything.
If we're on Sunday, since we're not doing Ghost of Saltmarsh, we can do part 2 of this. So then it's the mysterious people. His coat is just coming down in tatters. He's this tall looking being. He's got a mask on, which has like very slender, like little mouth and little eyes, very creepy kind of doll mask. It is, this race, they're Veins. Veins are, like, humans like to make fun of them because their name literally means they're full of themselves.
Yeah.
And they're basically like space elf, like tall, perfect, beautiful, psychic, just
crazy clothes.
Yeah. So he's there. He's got a bodysuit armor that looks like it's electrified or treated, so it's anti-laser and other things. And next to him, like just kind of sitting there, is this box. And the box has just like this small little slit at the top, a couple optics on it, and that seems to be what's spitting out whatever it's firing. It's just like this, it's hovering next to him, and it's just a machine gun of whatever it's shooting, shredding everything.
It's like the reverse John Gunjabar box.
But it's not going off because you're up there engaged. Instead, he does a warp effect. He warp casts. Ooh. So he does something, and you see the shimmer field come around him of the protection. So he's cast protection on himself.
I should have done that actually first.
Hmm.
I'm not used to playing like
playing a caster.
Yeah.
Ava, so you told Ava to shoot, but now you're up engaged with it. Do you want her to shoot?
You know what? She should know better. Like, she should know when I give her an order that's the fucking order. Like, so have her shoot.
All right.
I'm not trying to kill myself, but like at the same time, like I said, the time's coming up. Whoa.
Okay, so 6, 5, 4, 2. All three of those hit. So she just like shoots over you and starts pepper spraying into his face with this later.
6, 5, 4, 2, 1. They all hit.
No. So wild die can only take the place of another die.
Oh, okay.
So 6, 5, 4. All three of those hit.
Gotcha. Oh, this is 6, right? I keep thinking it's a 1.
Yeah, that's not a 1. That's a 6. So Skull is a 6. So she got 3 hits off of her 3 hits. The laser rifle is what?
Does this have a scatter of some kind?
No, just it has -2 for. Actually, it doesn't have recoil. It's laser. Though even the rate of fire weapons should. We'll call it. We'll just call it doesn't have it. Just to give her
precision.
some.
Yeah, it's a precision item. I mean, she's an android.
Yeah.
Maybe it's her. Oh, you said it was
Smig. Yep. Still 2d6. So, yeah. No recoil. Anyone says there.
Oh, well.
Pistols, smigs, and rifles ignore the recoil penalty. So, awesome. 2d6.
That would be the weirdest thing to fire an automatic weapon with no recoil.
To fire, like, almost any weapon. Like even like a bow and a crossbow, like, it has the thunk. Like, something is moving, and it shakes all of it.
You're like, this is unnerving.
So, the first 2d6 into it. So, he's in full combat armor. He's got a pretty good toughness. He's looking at a 12. He's got a 12 toughness with his armor, but he has that electrified coating, which is going to take 4 points of damage off her rolls because it's laser against the electrified coating. So her chances of hurting this guy
are slim.
Very slim. Yeah. She has to roll several 6s. So there's a 6 and a 4. That's 10. 6.
Yeah. No, I said that's 1.
7, 8, 9. Yeah. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Minus 4 is 9. Doesn't beat the 12.
Yeah, shoot.
Right? Like, she needs double 6s.
8.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Same thing. 12.
10, 11, 12. So, again, 8 doesn't ruin this thing.
Nope. And
6. So, you see this thing just peppering it, the coating on it, just deflecting all the lasers.
Oh, shucks.
All right, so that was a Joker. So, this is a reshuffle.
Soldier with a jetpack.
It could be exactly what he is.
I know.
In Deadlands, there's weird science, so...
Steampunk kind of stuff.
Yep. Steampunk, but the steam is souls.
Ooh, soulpunk.
Ghost coal, or ghost rock, whatever it's called. And when you burn it, it actually, like, screams. It gets terrifying. But everyone uses it.
It's so cold in here. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to burn the souls for the heater because it's so loud.
Okay. 3 of clubs.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense for you.
That's the second time I got it. That's the first card.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ava has the 5 of clubs. And the mysterious couple have the 10 of clubs. And the adversary has the 4 of clubs. It's
3, 4,
we get a
5,
flush,
5.
yeah. A flush. Yeah. Okay.
4 card flush.
So 10 goes first.
So I was like, damn, Ava's first.
Nope. Yep. You're in the way still, so he turns towards the brick wall that he's next to, and his little drone gun just starts lighting it up and just like shredding through the brick and making a hole.
Makes sense.
So that's 10. 5. Ava.
Well, that didn't work. I would have probably yell at her, like, the wall thing. Do the same thing to the wall. In other words, help with the escape.
We could just go out the back.
Is there a back door?
Not really. But you know that there's a because of the way this is formed, there is like this little squeeze hallway, and that's where like the liquor storage is back there, and that that there's a secret little way to get into the building from there.
All right,
in the back.
I'll tell her make her way.
Okay, so she turns and goes.
Murray, get out of here.
4. It goes. It's tired of swinging at you, so it takes kind of like a step back, lifts back up that thing, it starts spinning.
Here we go.
You feel warp manipulation going on from this gun.
I can't do any of my
defenses or anything.
I didn't even think about it. Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah, he is going to try to cause a warp anomaly and collapse it in you, essentially. That's what this gun does, or that's what this gun fires.
I always remember Anton Yeltsin saying, he's creating a singularity.
5
4
hits.
For my toughness, right?
Nope. This is just a shooting roll, so it's just basic difficulty.
Oh, yeah. Then that hits.
So that's going to hit.
I just want to know that Murray's okay.
Murray's like...
Yeah, he left a while ago. I didn't see it.
So it is going to do 2d10 damage. So your toughness is a 5
plus 4 is 9.
9, so it does have to break down through the armor as well, so you do get your armor. Oh no. That's a 10 and a 9.
Jesus.
19 plus 8 is 27.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's 27, so let's count this. So 9 plus 4 is 13, so that's 1 raise. Plus 4 is 17 is 2 raises.
Yeah.
And plus 4 is 21,
so this is
3 raises.
Yeah.
So this is insta-death.
Exactly.
That would take you straight to incapacitated.
This is mega damage, kind of.
Yeah. You can spend a Benny to soak.
All of that?
No, you have to roll.
Oh.
So, might as well. So, you've taken 3 wounds. You're going to roll your vigor plus your wild die. For every success and raise, you negate a wound. Double 3. So you negate no wounds.
Yeah.
So now you are. Well, let's look at the death rules, or the incapacitation, because this is
it's a hero-driven.
It's a hero-driven game, so you don't die at incapacitation. You have to make a roll, which is
this book smells so good.
So good. Incapacitation. You now need to make a vigor check.
Wild dice still or no?
It's wild dice. Yeah, with the wild die. So you have that flaw, anemic.
Oh yeah,
what does that give you?
Minor. It gives me -2 on fatigue, I think.
Oh, fatigue rolls. Okay, so this is incapacitated by damage or injury. Must make an immediate vigor roll.
6. Okay. 3 is.
Well, roll the 6.
Oh, that's right.
9. So that is with a raise. So on a critical failure, if you rolled double 1s, you would have died. On a failure, you would have rolled on the injury table up here.
Start bleeding out.
This would give you a permanent. Whatever you rolled would be permanent, and you'd be bleeding out. If you get a success, you roll on the injury table, and that lasts until all your wounds are healed. With a raise, you roll on the injury table, but the injury is going to go away in 24 hours, or when all wounds are healed, whichever is sooner.
D12.
So D12 on the injury table.
Injury table sounds cool. 10.
Leg. You gain the slow hindrance, minor or major if you already had slow. So that's going to go away in 24 hours and all that. But he pulls up the gun and it kind of fires early, shoots down, hits your leg. The leg just twists and warps. Yeah. It doesn't break or anything, but you just you're trying to pull away.
And I'm
and you're ah! And it's the muscles are all getting torn and manipulated, and you hit the ground and pass out from sheer pain and shock. So you don't know what happens after that. You don't know what happens to that mysterious couple or this crazy demonic soldier after them, and why these veins were in your bar for a world that we just created tonight.
Interesting. I like that. So I did, just for people that are watching this, and also and obviously for you, but like I did kind of aim myself to death.
Yeah.
Part of it was the overconfidence, absolutely. But I also kind of wanted to see damage, see wounds, see other characters move around and that sort of stuff, see some weapon fire, some strafing. Also, time constraints, unfortunately.
Yep.
Which next Wednesday I'm going to have to deal with. We'll figure that out. I think 1 day a week will work. I don't know if 2 is going to work. We might have to do someday earlier.
Well, we might, because you're back in class, we already kind of discussed dropping Tuesdays off. But, so we're not doing Ghost of the Salt March this Sunday, so we can do part 2 of Savage Worlds.
Because it would be fun if maybe you had a few minutes to do something with this.
Yeah. Well, let's chat in the upcoming days and figure out what world, what background, what setting. We can make it up ourselves, or we can make an established one that we can talk about.
Let's throw it into a Discord. Let's make it.
And then, so we'll come to the table prepared with an idea of what kind of character. You can pick a different race. We can make a race beforehand, or that kind of thing. We can make sure the powers are right.
Yeah, and then people that have watched this can now watch the next episode and see how different you can make a game, but still maintain the same.
Right. The same system.
I like this system.
I love it.
Part of it, I'm used to it already because we played so much Rifts. Second, I love the idea of hindrances for advances and edges, because I feel like the edges don't come up as much as the hindrances do. It's a nice dichotomy. I really like it. The lack of mixed dice is an interesting idea.
Using all the dice.
Yeah, and I really wish I had thrown some of these powers in there so we could have done some descriptions. I'm not used to making a magic cast. Maybe I'll have to do that with the next one. Like, I'm going to
be a caster.
Of some kind. And that'll give us a reason to write, like, a magic system or something like that,
Power cards.
Yeah.
So you can have your abilities. So, like, next time let's not do sci-fi again.
No.
We'll do like a fantasy or
like an old west or
fantasy like modern historical or modern. Like
just a straight up like. Well, I like the idea of the modern game, but I feel like we did that with Masquerade. Like we were right on the dot, like it was supposed to be in Chicago last year.
We chose sci-fi for this, but my favorite, like, I'm going to test out a generic system, is a zombie apocalypse.
Let's try it out. Yeah, that'll be fun. Because then it'll give me reasons again to do this sort of stuff. That's, advances and hindrances. Like maybe I've already been injured, or maybe I've gotten bit, and that's what the idea is. Like I'm running out of time. Maybe my motivation, that sort of thing. Well, awesome. I like it. I do like this. It's fun.
The moment Rifts...
And this is cool. Yeah. I've never seen a build your own adventure based off of our stuff. Like, I knew that you were doing it that way, but I've never seen the actual source book for it. Never seen the ideas where they do give you suggestions, like, hey, here's modern weapons, future weapons. Make sure they have these things to them. Let's make it all a single thing. Like, we went with warp-induced things, so phasing in, phasing out, that kind of stuff is fun. I like it.
And Rifts, I think, is at the printer for the new, or they just got the proofs for the new books and box set. So once that comes in, I'm all down for running another Rifts game. They even added the new books, because there's 3 new books coming out. One's all about magic and the magic empires in the United States.
Are they doing a new core rule book?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the new core rulebook, the new monster manual thing that they had for it, the new coalition field guide. Like all the books that were in the original are being remade. And then they're adding 3 more. One is all about the coalition and the empires, like the major empires. So the coalition, not Tolkien, but Laszlo, the New Pecos Empire, and things like that. Then it's going to be the magic one, which is all about the Federation of Magic. Then they have the Vampire Kingdom.
Nice. I'm definitely going to have to get the core rule book, even if I don't do anything else, just so I can have it, so I can hold them the 2 next to each other.
I don't even know, like, we moved the Rifts.
Well,
there they are.
Your core rule book's right here.
No, the core rules for Rift Savage Worlds.
Oh, so Savage Worlds.
So those are my Rift Savage Worlds books are over there. But the box set is somewhere as well. Like, it's the same kind of...
I think we've talked about because I've seen it.
I think it's sitting on the shelves over there somewhere.
Yeah, it's definitely in there.
So.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, and I need to get all of those together so I don't confuse the new books with the old books. Actually, like, it's kind of like I don't know what to do with them because they're obsolete now. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'd be like, oh, I could give them to you, but then I'm just giving you an obsolete game. Like, fuck you. So
here's something to read that you can never use.
There's like, I'm never one of those kind of people like, oh, they invalidated my purchase afterwards. That's the way commerce goes. Yeah. The moment you buy something, it devalues. The rate of devalue is not promised to you, or expected.
But that's actually why I never got into PC gaming, because like when you give me an Xbox or you give me a PlayStation,
there's a life cycle for that.
For the life of that thing, all games will work for it. All of them will run the same speed and smoothest, and you can expect a certain level of performance. Whereas with the computer, I felt like the upkeep was something I wasn't willing to put time into. So
my issue with that is it's going to be useless. I'm never going to use it again. I should just take it to Bookman's or someplace.
Yeah, but right? It's a collection.
Right, and that's the whole thing. That's awesome. What hits me.
That's my wife gets mad about that a lot. She said, "You don't need this stuff. You shouldn't. Why are you keeping these things?" I'm like, "You have every pair of shoes you've ever owned. Maybe I just want to keep some of these source books or some of these little handouts that we've given, made, things like that." Which I did make. I made some stuff for Saltmarsh to like give out as gems bits. So let's figure out how that's working. All right. Well, thank you for stopping by. Yeah. So this is Wileyverse. We play a regular D&D 5th edition campaign on Wednesdays at 9:30 Arizona time. So check and see how that, because we don't change. You guys change around us. We do Wiley versus Mitch when we have free times. And there's always a one-off here and there. And if vacation days happen or there's a holiday, usually we throw something else in there for fun too. So check out the Twitch stream and follow and get some little bonuses and junk like that. Have fun with us. All right. Thanks for so we're live right now. Yeah. Okay. Because I upgraded my internet for us so that we can have better connections. It's super. It's a better router. It's a gigabit. It might also make sense to connect to your Wi-Fi from over there. If we can get the signal. If we can get it. But you don't have to come off my Wi-Fi anymore to do anything like that. So thank you. Sunday. We're gonna do part 2. So stop on by.